What if the biggest difference between the Dallas Cowboys defense being good to great to bad is not the players? So going into this game versus Minnesota, we get to compare and contrast the two different mind states, two defensive philosophies, two defensive coaches, but only one future defining question for the Dallas Cowboys. The question is, are you willing to get uncomfortable, or do you want to go with safe but outdated continuity? So you can see by the title what my answer is: F continuity. I can care less about it. In today's video, man, we finna really dig into the difference between Matt Eberflus and obviously the opponent we getting ready to face in the D coordinator of Brian Flores, because a lot of people got to look at this a lot closer to me than what they're looking at it. It's not just zone versus man and kind of very basic concepts of like who blitzes and who doesn't. It's an overall difference in philosophy, right, that I'm gonna dig a lot deeper into. And what most people are not discussing is the major difference between the two. I'm gonna slow down and say this: the pre-snap disguises and looks that Brian is going to show, which you don't get with Matt Eberflus. And we go dig into that and why that's a problem, and why I'm saying even right now, regardless, we got to get rid of Matt Eberflus. He's outdated and he's not changing. So we go get into it. Let's first listen to Brian Schottenheimer explain Brian Flores. Listen very closely.
The team was pretty impressive. We know Brian Flores loves to blitz. We know Coach Flores' reputation. Coach, like, how many different blitzes can you be unfamiliar with? The difficulty of a blitz package. Can you just kind of give us a football 101 with, not necessarily what Coach Flores likes to do, but the amount of blitzes that can come your way that can catch you off guard?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say when you're talking about a Brian Flores defense, number one is when you look at him, he loves veteran players. Okay, so all right, well, so there's a style there. Well, why? Well, he wants to be multiple, and he needs guys and wants guys that can do different things from different looks, and they can adjust quickly, and that's what he's built.
Different things from different looks, and they can adjust quickly. See, but this is the thing you got to slow down and peep. You have to slow down and peep. Brian is not the only one with veteran players. Your defense also has veteran players. Is Malik Hooker a veteran? Is Donovan Wilson a veteran? You got veteran players. You got a lot of it. Quinnen Williams, veteran. Your linebacker unit, mostly veterans, right? The only thing that's kind of young is your corners, and they don't really have to think. The people that have to think are the people that's in the middle of the field, the green dot people and the safety people. Those are the people that have to think. So basically, there's no excuse for Matt Eberflus not to be able to be multiple, which was declared to be the vision of Brian Schottenheimer on both sides of the ball. So you have the personnel to be multiple, to also show disguises that we're not seeing from the Trojan horse that came from Jerry. Let's keep going.
And at the end of the day, there's only certain number of blitzes. So I can bring 5 guys, I can bring 6 guys, I can bring 7 guys, I can bring 8 guys. So it really is a numbers game, right? And a lot of it's based on how many backs you have in the backfield or how many potential blitzers you can bring. What I think they're so good at, guys, is they're so good at the disguise part of it.
Listen, that's what they're good at. It's not necessarily who runs zone, who runs man. It's the people that know how to disguise or give what's called a presentation difference. I'm going to show you that. Listen.
Meaning, again, whether they're bringing 6 or they're bringing 7, they make it look like they're bringing nobody, and then they bring 6 or 7. Then they make it look like they're bringing everybody, and they bring only 5 or 4. And so the disguise element, which the veteran players help with, I think is a huge part of it. But, this guy, he cut his teeth, talking about Flores, of course. He cut his teeth with Belichick, man. He learned under one of the best of all time. And but what's cool for me to see is because we used to play him, when they were in New England, and he's really added his personality to this thing, and very, very difficult to prepare for sure.
So this is the biggest issue right now. See, Jerry is trying to prepare us and sell us on that the key is, and the problem has been the changes with the defensive coordinator. And he been selling us as fans on, hey, the problem is continuity. We need to bring Eberflus back because the continuity is the most important thing. That is not the most important thing. So you mean to tell me, and listen, let me show you, a lot of fans are falling for it. Look, my boy said, I hate to say it, boss, but he just might be back next season per Jerry. I know you know that Jerry alluded to moving on too fast from coaches. I wish they would have kept Zim and and this is my response to that. Regardless of what Jerry said, we have to push to get Ebers on out of Dallas. Our voice matters. And see, somebody else said that to me. He said they won't fire him. Jerry has talked over and over again about continuity with coaches, specifically bringing up defensive coordinates swapping 3 times. Yeah, listen, y'all. If the fans are loud about getting Ebers on out, he will be out. Jerry always pick keeping his revenue source happy over his employees. So us as fans are the customers. We are his revenue source. When we are excited, we spend, regardless of what he's saying in terms of continuity. Now he's gonna always pick his money over his cost. Eberflus is a cost. That's the biggest thing. Also, I'm gonna show you and prove to you that he's outdated. That's the key. He's outdated. So you heard Brian talk about the biggest issue is disguise. That's the biggest issue. Is Brian Flores is not whether he plans zone or man, it's the looks that can confuse your quarterback and your receivers. So let me play this where you go see, and I'm gonna show you and prove to you that Eberflus is just frankly outdated. And we go use this from Cooper Kupp to paint the picture. So just listen to Cooper Kupp, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna bring out the receipts, and I'm gonna show you. Listen closely.
My perspective. This is from my perspective. So don't get, no one won't even get offended.
Quote him.
But here we go. So in 2017, 2018, Sean McVay's offense is ahead of the game. Right. There were times we were running plays, and they have no idea what is going on, and we were just manipulating all their, you're just manipulating them, moving them to where we wanted to go the other direction. It was stupid. 2019, defenses start catching on. There's a little bit of this Vic Fangio thing that comes on. It's like, okay, hey, late in 2018, there was some stuff that's showed that they could kind of stop this offense a little bit. So 2019, you start seeing some more of this cover 4, some of the 6-1 stuff. You see safeties now playing things, from depth and being able to cancel things across.
Notice what he said. You start seeing a lot of 6-1 stuff, a lot of cover 4. You start seeing defenses modernizing, catching up. I'm gonna come back to what he's saying, but I want y'all to peep that part. The modernization of defenses, okay? And he also brought up the 6-1, okay? And that's where you're getting a lot more people up front and a lot less on the back end, especially on first down. So when you look at Brian Flores, right, you looking at somebody who has accepted the modernization of defense. And so this article talks about it, breaking down the Vikings 6-1 scheme, how Brian Flores is redefining defense in the NFL. So that's what Cooper Kupp was talking about is the modernization of defenses and not staying in what's called a static look. Now listen to me. I'm explaining this. I'm very right on this. Also, I do come from defensive coordinators, so I was coached to be able to have these conversations. I'm not just some YouTuber that's talking over my head. The people that I come from taught scheme. I was lucky and fortunate enough to have defensive coaches and defensive coordinators. So I'm telling y'all right. Listen. Just listen real close. Listen. This is football talk.
2020 comes. Brandon Staley gets hired to LA. Brandon Staley was with Fangio.
Brandon Staley. Yeah. So he's showing you the innovation of the defenses and what was happening.
In Chicago. Staley in 1 year puts together the #1 defense in the league. Now Staley's thing is all about, concept recognition, concept match, being able to be like cancel routes, move on to new things. So now you've got a defense that's not just dropping to spots, but now they're playing the offense.
Right. See,
right? now more.
You don't have defenses just dropping the spots. It's modernized. See, what you're dealing with Eberflus is an old man, outdated system where his defense is still mostly dropping the spots. And worse, they show no disguise. They show no disguise. Listen.
More of this is shifted and molded into this defenses now that are holding these shells and being able to say, hey, you aren't going to see what we're doing pre-snap. We're going to show you late. We're going to bring pressure.
We're not going to show you what we're doing pre-snap. Listen, y'all. Listen. I'm not making this up. I'm not pulling this out my ass. Listen.
And now more and more of this is shifted and molded into this defenses now that are holding these shells and being able to say, hey, you aren't going to see what we're doing pre-snap.
And that's what Brian Schottenheimer was talking about that he gets from Brian Flores. The exact same thing. A disguise difference.
We're going to show you late. We're going to bring pressures from all.
We're going to show you late.
Different directions. We're going to be showing you, we're not just going to be dropping into spots. We're going to be matching. We're going to be playing zone stuff underneath. There's all this different stuff that's happening, and the complexity of the defense has gotten so much more because the offenses have also started doing so much more that you have to be able to have answers for it defensively. So that's kind of where we're at right now, and it is fun though.
All right, so let's compare Matt Eberflus, and let's go right into it to the disguises. Listen to him explain it. Listen.
And he sure was. This next play here, another situation here where we got another all-up presentation. All right.
Now notice Brian Flores called it an all-up presentation. Listen to what he said. The presentation. So what he's doing is he's presenting this look, but it's not the look or the defense that he's presenting. This is the disguise that Brian Schottenheimer was talking about that you get with Brian Flores that you don't get with Matt Eberflus. That's why he called it a presentation. Let me rewind it a little bit so you can catch it. Listen.
Here where we got another all-up presentation. All right, what I mean by that is, we've got 7 guys at the line of scrimmage. It looks like blitz. As you can see, they've got, 8 guys in protection.
So he's showing blitz. He's disguising it as blitz. He's mugging the line of scrimmage. When you see all those people up on the line of scrimmage, that's called mugging it. And see, now all your offensive line, they have to have different protections. They got to point out who the blitzer could be. All of this. So now all this communication is going on, whether right or wrong, because of the presentation. The presentation. The modernization of a defense.
Here with 3 receivers, but we're popping out of here and we're playing zone.
But we popped out of there and we played zone. We presented blitz. We presented man coverage. We was in zone the entire time.
On coverage behind it, so it looks like blitz. It's not blitz. All right, they've got a quick throw. All right, and they actually have a good play. They got a blocker out here. They got one of their tight end, Noah Fant, in space. All right, and Isaiah, he punches this ball out with what we call our hammer technique. Scoops, scores, and he's off to the races. Another dynamic, incredible play by him. Here's the end zone view.
Yeah, Brian Flores. Yeah, so let's compare that to Eberflus. This is what I want y'all to do on your own. Do your own homework on this to see if I'm lying. So if you go look at Eberflus' defense, it's what's called static. It's no presentations in it, hardly. He doesn't do it even close to enough, if he does it at all. So as you looking at the presentation, what he does is he lines up in the defense pre-snap with the exact same look that he's going to run on that defense. So like, for instance, this right here, this looks like cover 2 just based on how they lined up in it. The corners are about 5 to 6 yards off. The safeties are already lined up on the halves, which is what you go play when you're playing cover 2. The corners are going to have the flats, right? The safeties go have the deep zones, and he lined up in that presentation. That's what makes him old. That's what makes him outdated. His presentation is outdated. And you can look at his looks pre-snap and do this on your own. When you watch Dallas play, watch how many times they line up in the defense, and it's exactly the defense in which they lined up in pre-snap. So like, for instance, this right here, clearly man coverage. And so just think about it. It's an easier read for the quarterbacks. It's a much easier read because now, oh, you running man, you got a single high safety right here. Right here, you got the corners that's pressed up, so they playing man. It's an easier read. So if you want to do concepts, man beaters and different stuff like that, if you want to do pick routes, it's easier now for me to do it against you because you showed it pre-snap what you likely going to do. And that's what makes him outdated, old, and that's why I am all the way against continuity. Like, no, Belichick might be available. The person who discipled Brian Flores. And you go tell me for continuity, we not gonna even look at it? You out your rabbit ass mind. No, Jerry. No. I know that's your guy. I know you're comfortable with him. I know you made the hire, but no, continuity is not a reason to stay in a toxic, old, outdated defense. We got to get him to modernize. You out here with these old suits on. You look like a clown. You have no pre-snap disguises and you show no multiple. This is exactly what Brian Schottenheimer talked about, being multiple. Why does Brian have to look across the street at his competitor to find out what multiple looks like? Why does Brian have to say, that's what I'm talking about when he's looking at Minnesota? Why does he have to look at Brian Flores to get the multiple vision that he wants? Because don't forget, it was Brian Schottenheimer that said very clearly that on both sides of the ball, I want us to be multiple. But you're seeing the multiple from other teams. You're not seeing it from your team. So I absolutely do not accept for 1 second the continuity plan of this old ass outdated defense. And worst of all, he's stubborn. I can't stand it no more. I'm sick of it, and I'm gonna just say it straight up. Listen, Brandon Laurie came out. DaRon Bland has been way better man coverage than in zone this season. And yet you will see Matt Eberflus admit that he went away from the damn grits again. So Cowboys defense, Matt Eberflus, when asked about blitzing early last week at Detroit and not as much later in the game, you call the game the way you see fit to win the game. Bruh, no. You was blitzing early. You had a quarterback that wasn't mobile. It was working. And you stubbornly said, no, I want to go back to my zone, Eber zone. I want to go back to it was working. And you saying Jerry trying to sell us that continuity is the way? Now, Jerry, let's be real. You doing too much work. You the one that have to tell him how to coach. This week, we're going to run more man. You're going to see more man. You literally had to take Brian Schottenheimer off the number one offense and get him to help Matt Eberflus do his job. Nah, I'm not with this. I don't give a damn what Jerry say. I don't care that he already said that continuity. I don't have to accept that. I'm the customer. No, this is some raw ass meat. Go cook it. I'm the customer. I do not accept continuity as your plan. I don't accept it. And I won't accept it. Not when I'm watching the modernization of NFL defenses, when you even have older men who have modernized. You had Dan Quinn who came in and said, my cover 3 is outdated. Listen at Dak talk about
matchup coming up against Brian Flores and what the different looks and things he's going to curveballs sinkers in the dirt he's going to throw at you.
Yeah, most definitely. Just understanding that he's an aggressive play caller. He's a play caller that likes to win the game from the plays that he's dialing up and the way that he's attacking the offenses and the looks that he's presenting.
Attacking the offense with the looks that he's not these old Eber zone basic ass looks. Look, we lining up in it and that's what we playing. Now, I am intentionally trying to confuse you. I'm showing different presentations because I have to confuse. Now, are you going to confuse Dak? Likely no. He's too much of a veteran. But you know who you could confuse? His weapons. If they running way more option routes, if they trying to get off the ball slow, sit in zone packages and pockets, I can confuse the weapons, which can then delay Dak.
But as you said, right, giving us curveballs and making it tough on us, but we just got to communicate. And so, yeah, why I relish this challenge is it's as much of a game as anything that's a challenge to me mentally and what I'm seeing on film and being able to decipher that, pre-snap and get us into the right.
Notice he said decipher that pre-snap. Pre-snap. Yeah. So just like it was loud about we need more motion. No, we need more pre-snap disguises. We should not accept a coach who refuses to do it because of his Eber zone outdated ass defense.
Protections into the right looks and plays versus all their different looks.
How do you balance trying to win every game, but also?
Yeah. So now I'm telling y'all right. On this. Because again, I'm going to say this again for the people who might be misunderstanding. It's not necessarily zone versus man. That's not where the problem is. The problem is really disguises versus no disguises. That's the real problem. Is your defense, Matt Eberflus, doesn't make the other offense think, which allows them to play faster with more confidence. Hence why you keep getting cooked. Perfect example. Me and Henny talked about this. The Seahawks run more zone than Dallas. But this is the difference. Their zone rate versus their disguise rate. They disguise it more. That's what they do better than Dallas. It's not about who runs zone, who runs man, man versus zone, zone versus man. No, it's who mucks up the waters the best. That's the real key. Who mucks up the water? You can see that the Chargers run about 16% man coverage, but the defense is smoking. If you go to Dallas, they run altogether 17% man coverage. Because it's not the amount of zone versus man, it's the disguise rate, the presentation difference. So I said that to say this. I would be cool with Matt Eberflus going forward if I see him modernize. But I have not seen him modernize all year. And when he did modernize, it was because he was forced to lay down in those green pastures. It's because Jerry walked out and said, eat your grits. You're going to see more man coverage. It was because Brian Schottenheimer had to get in the room and teach him how to scheme. But then when he left himself, he'll start blitzing. Then he'll say, hey, I don't feel comfortable with that. Let me go back to Eber's zone. He got to go, y'all. He got to go unless I give him a chance. But I need to see change. I need to see what Dan Quinn did. I need to see the humility to say, I'm old. I'm outdated. I need to change. I need to go do something different. I need to show more pre-snap disguise. It's not about your zone of man. It's the fact that you're old and you act old. The defense have modernized. They doing more 6-1 front, bear fronts. They doing more match coverages. They doing way more to junk up the offense. I'm not standing for it. So this particular stream is brought to you by Sleeper Picks. Go for a Hail Mary on your Sleeper Picks and win up to 100 times your money. Use promo code BCS and Sleeper will 100% match your first deposit up to $100 instantly. And if you like content like this where I'm bringing you the truth, make sure you hit that like and subscribe to this channel. Do it on all the platforms, whether you're on Instagram. I'm posting more on Instagram now. TikTok, posting on there now. Facebook, do it on all of them. Just do it on every one of them. We are aggressively expanding Boss Cowboy Sports. It's your boy Boss Show Me. I'm bringing you another one.
Another one.
And I'm out.